Hello, this is Steve from Beaute's Leatherworks, and today's project is this Ferragamo loafer. As you can see, that the soles are worn out and the customer wanted to have them replaced. So this is basically a leather sole with a rubber inlay, okay? They don't make this aftermarket. Now they make similar ones. JR makes a similar sole with a smaller rubber inlay in the middle, and we thought we would suggest that to the customer, but he wanted just like the original. Well, having it like the original, I've got to make it. I can't find one that's already made. I can take this off and put it on, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to get a JR sole. We're going to put a rubber inlay in the middle of that. Clean the uppers. The uppers have so much buildup on them. It's hard to tell, but I'll show you guys in a second when I'm scraping that off. Clean the uppers, re-dye them, condition them, put rubber heels on, and make them look like they used to be again. Okay. This was a $495 job because it's a little bit time consuming to create something that's not there. Okay. And once it gets done, it'll look fairly like new. Okay, let's get started. Man, this has a lot of crud on top of there. I don't know if you guys can see that. We're not going to have a long video today. It's going to be fairly short. Basically just giving you guys the important parts of the repair. I mean, there's a lot of polish on here, a lot. So there's no shortcut to this. Basically, it's going to go little by little and clean that stuff off. As you guys saw, that I scraped some of that old polish because there was so much buildup on there that it's faster to scrape it off a little first. And slowly wipe it down and turn a rag over. Keep going until there's nothing on there. All right, let's continue. Man, still coming off. I've been at it for about an hour now. And it just won't let up. There's so much buildup on here. Now I remove the little ornament in the front there to get, you know, in the back of the leather piece there. Back of the leather piece. Back of that buckle, whatever the hell we call that. I can stitch that back on, it's not a big deal. It's just that you can't have proper access behind it if you don't move it out of the way. And most people don't. Look at this, man. Wow. It's looking better though. After we let this dry, we're going to wet it again with a stretching solution where we're going to soften that. We're going to soften the leather. And we're going to try to get rid of some of these creases that we have here. Wow. Just when you think that it was done. I don't know how many years of polish that is. Anyway, so we're going to wet the uppers. We're going to give it some shape, let that dry, come back and dye it, and we're going to start working on the soles. All right, let's continue. I use 50% water, 50% rubbing alcohol. Call this a little massagey. You want a little massagey? All right. Now, creases are not going to go away. You're going to wear the shoes and it's going to come back. But it gives it a good presentation when you get done with the with the work, you know, afterwards. Just use your shoe trees after you don't wear them. And that'll maintain the shape as best as possible. All right. So as you guys can see, it's taking shape. And you can take your hammer or something smooth and rub on those more if you want them to be smoother. If you don't have this stretching solution, put some moisturizer on the leather so you don't damage it as you're rubbing it. I'll let this dry. And we're going to work on the sole now. All right, let's continue. So let me show you guys what a leather splitter is. This is a leather splitter here. This is a blade. Okay. The leather goes through here. You crank the handle and it rolls it through. So I had an idea of maybe splitting the sole like 1/4 to 3/4. The thickness of the rubber inlay basically would be the top layer, and would cut it out and then glue everything back down. Well, we had a major fail. Turns out that the blade needs some adjustments not just the blade, everything else too, so it would cut that evenly. As you guys can see, one side is not even. Now, I don't know much about these. I messed around with it yesterday, I don't know, for like half an hour, and I gave up on it. So I'm going to hand cut the edges and then sand the middle inlay part and then put the rubber piece together. So hopefully it won't be a major fail like this. All right, let's continue. Still going to sand that a little bit, make some minor adjustments before we mark it on the sole. And we are making progress. Let's continue. Now this was a glued on construction, okay? Basically you had the leather sole, it gets glued to the uppers, trimmed, polished, finished. Now we're going to make it into a Blake stitched design. Basically it's the same style like a glue-on construction, but we're going to stitch the soles from the inside out. You know, from the inside like that and out, which would change it to a Blake stitched shoe. Okay, I think that's a little bit more secure because no matter how well you glue it, with the flexing of the motion when you walk, it always, well, I shouldn't say always, most of the time it comes loose on the sides. Now we put a single layer of cork here just to fill in the void. It's not too much. We even sanded that down a little bit. It's not like a Goodyear welted shoe where there's a lot of cavity to fill there. On the whatchamacallits, on the glue-on construction, the uppers just come like this and fold over onto the footbed. So there's not much there to put cork on, but we put a little bit of there just to kind of level out the surface. All right, let's continue. Y'all know what time it is. Now this logo is off-centered because I used one of the soles that I kind of screwed up. I salvaged it, but the inlay is going to be there, so no worries about keeping that center. Okay. Do you want to trigger anybody with that off-center logo? Beautiful, not going anywhere. All right, let's continue. Okay. There she goes. Now this top cut, I'm tilting the knife a little bit in the inside of the cut. Because what I want to do, I want to be able to have the inlay curved a little bit, at angled I should say. And the same with the leather piece, so when they come next to each other, there's no gap in the middle. And it's hard to tell when I'm cutting it, but let me see if I can get a better angle for you guys. I have to make sure that I'm comfortable when I'm cutting it so I don't screw it up. That's not much of an angle, I know. All right, let me try another angle. Man, my stomach's gurgling. Okay. All right, you guys see it now, right? We're going to move this out of the way. Just like that, okay? Then we're going to sand this part off. We'll put this in here, we'll glue this back in, and we'll put that in there, and we'll have a nice, flush, even surface. Now, as far as the back right here is concerned, of course, I'm not going to be able to cut it way back here. So what we'll do is, we'll go ahead and do this and sand that part off. We'll sand that flush there. All right, let's continue. Now this makes it a Blake stitched shoe, okay? Because we stitched the shoe from the inside out. Now the stitches will be hidden underneath that rubber piece, and it's nice and secure to the uppers. All right, let's continue. And you have a rubber inlay. Cool. Trim the edges, dye the uppers, put the heel on, shine them up. Should be ready to go. Not too bad, not too shabby. All right, let's continue. This is basically called a bayonet that attaches. We remove that. We're going to put a round trimmer blade. If you guys can see that. See, that's kind of round. Some of them are straight with patterns on them. Some are round. This particular one, we're going to make a round edges. All right, loud noise coming up. It compared to straight. Fiebings black. Somebody want to take a shot? Oh, lordy, lordy, lord, where are my gloves? So you guys tell me I don't wear gloves. There you go. I'm wearing them. Even though my hands are still dirty. How do they get dirty with my gloves on? All right. Simple as that. Well, not really simple, but simple. See, the edges are nice and round? Yes, sir. After you trim it, you've got to basically hand sand it to smooth out the edges. Make them nice and round and buff them real good. Get that nice gloss. I hope everybody's having a fairly good first week of the year. It's still crazy out there, man. Too much madness going on in this world. It's hard to stay positive sometimes. But even positive people have negative thoughts, but I think the trick is not to dwell on it and to kind of empty your mind of it. Take out the trash. I try to do that every night. Try is the key word. It's not so easy sometimes. But you got to stop worrying about what you can't control. It's going to happen either way. Just focus on the things that you can control. Like thinking positive thoughts. All right. All right, we'll let this dry, come back, buff it, polish, condition, and we'll be ready to finish the bottom. All right, let's continue. If you guys have any questions, go on my YouTube page, go to About section right here, and you got everything that you need to know about me. My address, the business name, phone number, email, Facebook, Beaute's Leatherworks, Instagram, Beaute's Leatherworks. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me or just reach out through Facebook or Instagram. Let's continue. All right, welcome back. We are done with another project. I think they turned out pretty good. I think the customer will be happy. Now this was not the usual project, right? I don't think I've done it this way before. This is my first time that I've actually cut around the edges and put an inlay in the middle. Most of the time when we do like a thin rubber sole, we call it a sole guard. We'll come across here and do the whole thing, or just kind of give it a curve or a reverse curve. Call it a D curve. I don't know why they call it. My friends call me the D curve, because I guess I wasn't the first one, but I did a lot of it because my last name is Dudaklian. They called it a D curve. We could have usually done that, you know, and but the guy insisted he wanted like original, and we gave it to him like original. All right, so share, comment, what else? Subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. Giving the thumbs up kind of generates a little bit more views, I guess, in the algorithm of the YouTube. And this way we'll generate more views, and we appreciate it. All right, so next project, I don't know what it's going to be yet. There's a bunch in store, bags, shoes. Oh, I've got a pair of riding boots that I'm working on. I'd like to get that to be the next video. I'll do my best. All right. Okay, so we'll see you guys on the next project. Take care.